Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of the Hear Me Tell It, the life and times of Jerry Daniels. When you've had your daily dose of today's craziness, dealing with all them Karens out there, ride shotgun with old JD as he goes back and recounts the life and times of growing up in the South during the 60s and 70s. I believe we were called baby boomers. Stories that you will say, yep, I done that, but I ain't gonna tell my kids. And I ain't never told my spouse. But whatever the truth be, it will be this, to hear me tell it. Well, hello, folks, and welcome to yet another episode of To Hear Me Tell It. I think, I'm going to look at my notes, but I think today is either episode number 158 or 159 or something like that. It's pretty close to 160. And I know I can't believe this has been going this long. I honestly thought I'd peter out before it got to this point, but it's a hobby. What can I say? First and foremost, thanks to all those who do listen. I appreciate it very much. I'm blessed, I'm humbled, and I'm grateful. How about that? And I'm going to work harder at not saying when there's a pause or a break. So if you're inclined and you want to count how many, I'm trying to get better. I watch some of these afterwards and I look back and I go, man, do I say that much? Today is a special day. It is a special day. August the 27th. Excuse me. 45 years ago today, something happened. And no, Stuart O'Hearn, that's not the day I cut my finger off. But 45 years ago today is the day that Jerry Daniels and my lovely bride, Laura Mackenzie Daniels, she was a Mackenzie. 45 years ago today, unbeknownst to either one of us, and I had not met my wife then. This is true fate. And a lot of irony here. 45 years ago today, me in Atlanta, Georgia, Jerry Daniels, Atlanta, Georgia, raising his right hand, swearing in and taking the oath of enlistment to active duty. And I had already enlisted under the delayed entry program, under the good counsel of a senior chief named Skeeter Poole, my recruiter. And I'll digress a little bit here, but Skeeter Poole was my recruiter. He taught me out of being a gunner's mate. And when I could not pass the hearing test to become a AW, yes, Jerry Daniels actually was going to be an AW, but I couldn't pass the hearing test. I'd already shot too many damn guns. But they said my hearing wasn't good enough to be an acoustic operator. And so he taught me into being an ordnanceman because I told him I love firearms. He said, well, then don't be a gunner's mate, be an AO. I said, okay, I don't know what that is, but it's an aviation ordnanceman. But he taught me into enlisting under the delayed entry program when I was 17. And let me tell you why he coached me and convinced me to do this. And y'all have heard that story. I had to go home and beg Daddy to sign the papers so I could enlist under the delayed entry program at the age of 17. Because I couldn't do it. I was an adult. And Daddy said no at first. And then the second time I saw my father cry is when I told him I was going to join the Navy no matter what. And I could sign him when I'm 18 or he can do it now. And I told Daddy this is what, the recruiter said. I called him, I think, Mr. Poole. But he said, if you sign up for the delayed entry program, it will help you in the future when they come to calculate your time in service and time and rate. And it did. It paid off big time. But anyway, so August the 27th, 1980, old Jerry Daniels is in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm enlisting in the Navy, active duty. Meaning I didn't got on the bus in Butler, Georgia. I told y'all that story. And I left. And I was gone. I wasn't coming back. That same day, 45 years ago today, that same day, Laura Mackenzie was doing the same thing in Portland, Maine. She was enlisting in the Navy. And as fate would have it, my airplane flew from Atlanta to Orlando, and hers flew from Portland, Maine. Maybe she had a connection flight, and if she did, she wouldn't even remember it. But anyway, bottom line is we both ended up in the airport in Orlando, Florida, the same day, waiting to be taken to the recruit training command in Orlando, Florida. How about that? And we graduated on the same parade field on the same day, and we didn't know each other. We PT'd together, physical training and all that stuff at what was called the grinder. We was out there on the grinder, and we didn't know each other. So I probably saw her and thought, damn, she's good looking. I just didn't remember her. She damn sure remember me. So, all right, so that's what happened 45 years ago today. Is that cool or what? A couple things we're going to talk about before I get to the main topic. Yesterday was a good day, man. Yesterday was the 26th of August, and I was able to go down to Perry, Georgia. Went down to Perry, Georgia, and I was able to get in as a walk-in, but I walked into the Georgia Department of Agriculture class for egg candling to get the certificate to be able to, if I choose to do so, to sell my eggs to the public, the end user. I can't sell to a retailer because then you'd be what's called an unrestricted. But I got my certificate yesterday, or I completed the requirements. I don't have the certificate yet. They're going to send it to me. I completed the requirements to get my egg candling certificate to be able to sell eggs under restrictions, and I can only sell eggs legally to an end user. I can't sell them to a retailer. There can't be a middleman. I sell them to somebody who's going to buy them. They're going to use them. So I was able to do that yesterday. Now, in preparations for this class, 2 months ago, I went online and was researching where I could go take this class. And you have to hunt, but you can find the site that shows the schedule of all the classes in the state of Georgia for egg candling. And if somebody may say, well, what does that mean? That's it's still use it, but basically you use a light source and you put an egg real close to the light source, and you can basically, transluce it, but you can see through the egg, if you will, and you can look for bad stuff. I'll just leave it at that. And you can use that to grade the egg as well. Tell whether the egg's good or bad, or what's got some age on it and whatnot. So I went to this website and I looked at all these locations, and I may have already said this, but every one of them was full. Now I started in North Georgia because logistics are important. Gas is expensive, so I thought I'll look up here in North Georgia. Couldn't find nothing. Now I'm talking about, it's already late August, but I was looking in June, July. Hell, I was looking in May, June, July. Couldn't find anything, and the only openings I could find were very late in the year, like October and November, and they were down in South Georgia, y'all. They were down like in Albany and Savannah and Kings Bay, Georgia, and I thought, damn, that's a long way, man. And we're talking, not only the gas, but the time and the hotel room and all that mess. And I thought, man, I don't know if I want to do all that. So what I did is I got something here. I don't know what that means. But anyway, so what I did was I just wrote each one of those places that were more logistically, convenient, I guess is the word, for me. And I started writing them all. And on their website where it says that the class is full, it says that there is no standby. So I thought, well, shit, okay, you can't even register as on a standby. But I went ahead and, you know what, you don't know if you don't ask. So I wrote a letter, an email, and I copied and pasted, but I sent it to every one of them I could find that was, sooner. And again, it was more conducive to logistics of me traveling. So I did that, and everybody came back and said, no, except for one person. Her name was Miss Adams. She's gold. And I don't know what her affiliation was, but she's got something to do with the class that I went to yesterday. It was being offered in Perry, Georgia. And I went to that class yesterday. So I was able to complete it. Did I learn something? Absolutely. I learned something. I learned a lot, actually. So now, in that being said, I drove down. I hadn't planned on this earlier, but anyway, so it ended up some changes in plans, and I was going to go down like a day and a half early, do a job for a client for drone imaging, and then I was going to spend the night at a fellow's house, and that didn't go well, or it didn't. I guess what am I saying? It didn't solidify. So I ended up just going, you know what? I'll just leave really, and the class started at 9, so I just thought I'll leave really early here and then drive the 3 or 3.5 hours and get down there for the 9 o'clock class, which means I was going to have to leave here at least by 5. I was going to have to leave here by 5. And then I thought, oh, man, you're still going to be in the damn Atlanta traffic and all that mess. And so late breaking Monday around noonish, I called my sister and said, hey, I said, can I come spend the night with you? Of course, my sister's gold. She said, absolutely. So I went down and I had a good time with my sister. I hadn't seen her in a while, man. So, and I love my sister. So me and Robin went out to dinner and we chatted and caught up, and I got to see my brother-in-law. I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and had a good dinner with him. And then with her, he was out at a tennis match or something. But got up early the next morning and went to Waffle House in Perry, Georgia. This is all pre-planned now. So went to Waffle House in Perry, Georgia, and who doesn't like Waffle House? And I love doing this, but Todd's out of town. Todd Smith's out of town. So me and Larry Kirksey and Bill Amos, we had breakfast yesterday morning at Waffle House. And Bill treated. Thank you, Bill. He treated. And it was funny because when the woman, the waitress, I'm going to tell you about her, waitress says, this on one ticket, and Bill immediately spoke up. And he said, yep, I got it. And then she looked at me and Larry. She said, how many steaks y'all want? I told her I said I want 5 steaks to go. So... But our waitress was named, I don't know what her name was. On her name tag, it said Granny. And I said, your name's Granny? She said, yeah. Now, Granny was older than us, and I was going to speculate to say, I don't know how old, but we was messing with her and flirting with her. And I mean, it ain't something when you're in your 60s, you're flirting with a woman that's in her 80s. Go figure that. So that's some crap that maybe Stuart O'Hearn would do. But Bill knew her. But Bill knows a lot of waitresses at Waffle Houses. But he knew her, and I got there first, so Bill and Larry wasn't there, so I'd already struck up a conversation with her. And she kept wanting to get me to sit down somewhere, and I said, no, I'll wait till my friends get here. And then Larry showed up, and then Bill showed up rightly after that. But Bill knew her, and he asked her, he said, and he pointed at me, he said, did you tell him you was from Reynolds, Georgia? I said, no, you didn't tell me you was from Reynolds. She goes, yeah. But we sat in a booth, and she waited on us. And I even talked to Larry this morning. And I said, did you get her name? Because she said her last name, and I forgot it. But she's 85 years old, y'all. She's 85 years old. And she told us where she lived, and I forgot that. But Bill said, well, dang, that's like an hour and a half drive. This 85-year-old woman is a waitress who was born and raised in Reynolds, Georgia, said she left Reynolds in 1968. And I'm like, well, hell, ain't none of us going to remember you because we was little boys. But she left in 1968, and, man, I can't remember. I want to say, I forget where she lived, man. Tifton, maybe? I don't know. But it's an hour and a half drive. My point is talk about the American workforce. And President Trump, maybe you'll listen to this one day. She's 85 years old. She's in the workforce, and she's humping tables at a Waffle House, and she drives an hour and a half to get there. How about that? And I hope they get that tax thing off the tips. So that just amazed me. 85. I don't know what I'll be doing at 85, but I can guarantee you damn thing one thing. I ain't going to be waiting on tables at a Waffle House. And if I am, then things are bad, and I'm just making do. So, thank you, Granny, for what you do. You're an American hero, and you're not collecting welfare and sitting on your ass. So that's pretty good. Oh, and I swore. I'm sorry. I said ass, but I forgot to tell y'all. My last episode on YouTube, because y'all know I release this as an audio on podcast, but also for the viewers that are looking at this. Y'all are seeing this on the YouTube channel. I got cautioned last week from the YouTube folks. And I was reminded, that's what they told me, you need to remember to be respectful in your content. So I took that to heart, because last week I'm trying to think what that was disrespectful, because woke being what it is, and I'm sure YouTube is woke. But I guess in my content last week, when I called out somebody, and I just said quote unquote or something, that how daggum stupid they were, and I you know what, I didn't forget what it was. It was that irrelevant, but I got cautioned, so I just swore, said a cuss word, and I may get cautioned again, or maybe they'll just turn me off. I don't know, but anyway, that's pretty daggum sad. All right, so I want to tell you about the chickens. The chickens are doing good. They are definitely taking advantage of this cooler weather. I noticed last night, I closed their window. I have a window. It has a screen window, and then it's got a metal, wire cloth screen that I framed into a frame and put it on a hinge. And that way, I call it my raccoon guard. So raccoons can't scratch through the screen to get in the window. There's a guard, like a netting material that would prevent a rat. It's not chicken wire. It's it's cloth wire stuff, and it's I think maybe 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. I think it's a 1/2 inch, but ain't no raccoon gonna get through there. I know that because I built it. And I had a fox 2 nights ago. First time I've had a fox snooping around my daggum chicken coop. And now we got a damn stray dog in the neighborhood running around here, and he's come around 4 or 5 times already. He takes a crap in my yard, which I ain't too keen on that, because I'm going to step in it or put my lawnmower wheel through it. And he's starting to show interest in the chicken coop. So I don't know who owns this dog, but he's going to be gone pretty quick. I'll just say that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, so yeah, in the winter, the cooler. So I went into the chicken coop yesterday, and then I closed the window so it would not be as cold. Now I got vents. I got an vent down in the bottom that lets air come in the bottom, and then I got several places at the top that the hot air can escape. But I told Laura this morning, I said, I'm going to have to make covers to close off at least 90% of the upper vents to be able to keep heat in there, and then I'll put the heat lamp back in there and then create some heat for them, because they'll get cold. But I noticed last night they were all hunkering. They were sitting on their feet because their feet get cold, so they were sitting on their feet on the roost, and they were closer together, and their feathers were all fluffed up. So they had no heat stress. Let's just say that. So, and they've already started laying eggs this morning already. They're pumping them out. And when I got home from the egg candling class, I immediately put to use what I learned, just using a really high-powered flashlight. And I was showing Laura what I learned, and I was using this is a guide. This is a gauge. This is the egg air cell, call it the air pocket. But this is a gauge. You can see it. And you can see that you use this gauge, and it's got a bottom section there, and the camera's trying to get the focus, get the aperture right. So I'll just put it right here. So, but you can see that it's by the Georgia Department of Agriculture, Food Safety Division, and you can see it's got this little gauge here, and you can determine whether the air pocket will put an egg into a double A quality, an A egg, or a B quality. So, and I didn't know this yesterday, so I learned something else new, is that when you buy eggs, whether they're jumbo, extra large, mediums, or smalls, it's not determined by the single egg. It's determined by the weight of the dozen of eggs. So if you was to get a dozen of eggs and they're marketed and sold as jumbo eggs, and I'm thinking about this. I may do some sorting. I may do some sorting on how I sell my eggs. But if they're jumbo eggs, that means that dozen of eggs weighs at least 30 or more ounces. 30 or more ounces. If they're extra large eggs, that means that dozen of eggs weighs at least 27 ounces, somewhere between 27 and 30. Greater than 27, less than 30. Large eggs are sold and marketed, and that means they're at least 24 but less than 27 ounces. mediums 21 to 24, and then the small eggs weigh at least 18 ounces, so somewhere between 18 and less than 21 ounces. So I learned that. So there we have it. But I put to use what I learned, and I looked at some of my eggs. My eggs look good. And then in the class yesterday, we graded. Hell, we graded probably 50, if not more, eggs. We had to get put into groups, and then we did practical exercises using using those candling lights. And the point of the thing was to get real hands-on experience grading eggs. But we saw a lot of eggs that I probably will never see. Rotten eggs, eggs with blood spots, circle of death, internal structural fractures and stuff. I may see some of those, but and then we saw some air pockets that were huge. And then it was easy to tell if an egg had a lot of age on it, and you can do that by rotating the egg real quick in front of the light. And you rotate it, and if you see the yolk oscillating freely, just moving around, that means it's detached itself and it's got some age on it. And it also means that yolk has absorbed a lot of moisture, and it's getting a lot of oxygen in it. It'll get bigger and flatter, and it'll go bad. So anyway, that was a good class. Oh, anyway, so back to the chickens. I forgot where I was, man. I'm sorry, y'all. So back to the chickens. So the chickens are obviously laying this morning and whatnot. And y'all know from previous discussions that I've got 8 laying hens that I call are the major league girls. And they are almost 24 weeks old. They're already past 23. They're 23 and a half weeks old. And they're in a cycle now. And those 8 girls will lay every day. And it's the 2 Sapphire Gems. That's Thelma and Louise. Boom. They're both done. I guarantee you right now. Thelma's already laid, and I guarantee you right now by the time I'm recording this, Louise is already done. And Shirley, one of the Golden Comet, she's already laid. So they're pumping them out. But I've got 4 more hens that are called the minor leagues, and they're waiting to get called up to the major leagues. And they're starting to get along a lot better, which is good. They're starting to assimilate, and the big girls ain't picking them on them as bad because the little girls have grown up. They've got the red in the face. They got all their lady parts, and one of them, I think it's either Sunny or Cher, but one of them has laid at least 2 times, and of those 4 young girls. And I can tell by the way they act. I've learned something. Is just learn to read the chicken's behavior, and so I could tell that they're ready. Doris ain't ready yet. I don't know what Doris's issue is, and her and Blanche ain't got there yet. But the 2 Rhode Island Reds, which is Sunny and Cher, that are the younger girls, they're about 19 weeks old. They're showing all the signs that they're ripe. They're ready to do it. Like I said, and one of them, I don't know which one it is, Sunny or Cher, has already laid an egg twice. But the other day, I went in there, and I had a couple of tomatoes and a couple of cucumbers that I'd pulled from the garden that were not big enough and worthy enough to make the dinner table or a salad. So I just went straight from the garden to the chicken pen, and I throwed them in there. And when I throwed a couple of them tomatoes in the chicken pen, I scared that young Rhode Island Red. I don't know if it was Sunny or Cher, but I scared her, and she jumped. And when she jumped, I wish I could have videoed it because I was laughing so damn hard. But I had just opened the gate, so I went in. I was in the pen with them, and I had these cucumbers and tomatoes in my shirt. So I just pulled my shirt tail way out, and that's where I put my stuff. And when I throwed that tomato, and this young little Rhode Island Red, she shot up in the air, and she did, y'all, a little egg about the size of a quarter. A little egg went, and it shot out of her ass. And the egg went, phew, and it flew out of her butt. And I thought, at first I didn't know what it was. I thought, what the hell's that? And then I saw the chickens react to it. And they all took off after it. And they were pecking at it. Well, by grace of God, none of them broke the shell. And I picked it up. And I was laughing because you don't want the chickens to eat eggs. So once they get the taste and they start eating eggs, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to eat eggs. I don't need them to realize that eggs is a food source. So anyway, it was funny, and it was a little bitty egg. It was like a little cackleberry. It was tiny, man. It wasn't no bigger than that. So I don't know if it was Sonny and Cher, but she didn't lay yesterday, and I don't think she laid the day before. So, but on more than one occasion, I have gotten 9 eggs in one day, and I can tell it's a really small, light brown egg. It's not the dark brown ones like the Golden Comets, but it's not like the really light tan ones. Those are from the Black Australorps. So the Rhode Island Reds is kind of in the middle on the brown scale. I don't know what that is, but that's what the Rhode Island eggs look like. But so hopefully she'll lay today. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, I just want to share y'all that story about the chicken egg popping out of her ass. So all right. So I'm already at 25 minutes. I'm going to work so much harder for y'all and me. But to get this under, get it shorter, I'm talking too much. So I'm going to read this article. I got it pulled up here on my computer. You can't see, but I got a screen there and I got a screen there. I'm seeing me over here. I see me over there. But over here, right in front of me, so I can at least be facing y'all, but you'll see my eyes down, but I'm going to read from here. But this is all about the Crackle Barrel. That's all in the news, the Crackle Barrel. And one would think that people that are supposedly this smart, I can't imagine what her damn paycheck is, and the board members, the executive board members of Crackle Barrel. I have no idea what y'all's paycheck is. But for what y'all getting paid, y'all ain't real smart. Take that from somebody. Now, it ain't no executive from Crackle Barrel going to be watching this. But in the unlikely event that you may be watching this, y'all share it with whoever you want to. Y'all boys and gals, y'all ain't too bright, man. I know I'm just old country boy from Taylor County. Yep, failed 9th grade, D- student, retired U.S. Navy, did go to college, got a couple of college degrees, got my pilot's license. That doesn't make anything. But I tell you what, y'all ain't real smart. To be as smart as y'all think y'all are, and for what y'all get paid, not real bright. Man, I can't believe it. I cannot believe, and that's what when I first heard about the Crackle Barrel debacle, I said, there ain't no way. There ain't no freaking way somebody's that freaking stupid today. I could buy it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but today, are you guys serious? Man, freaking morons. All right, so this is an article. Let me see. It is by Azra Nomani. Azra Nomani. I guess a Fox Business News contributor. I don't know. But anyway, the headline on this article is Crackle Barrel's CEO dismissed. Crackle Barrel CEO dismissed warnings from the top investor who called the rebranding obvious folly. That's what he called it. So here's what the article, and y'all just bear with me. I want you to listen to this. This is amazing. When I read this, I read it twice, and I'm like, there ain't no freaking way. So it says, Crackle Barrel's, if the damn screen would quit jumping, Crackle Barrel's slide into a rebranding debacle began with a phone call at 4:30 p.m. Get this, y'all. Today is what, August the 27th? This debacle, whatever you want to call it, but this debacle started with a phone call at 4:30 on May the 16th, 2024. I did not miss that up. 4:30 p.m. on May the 16th, 2024. On that day, Crackle Barrel's new CEO. Oh, we got to stop that. So Crackle Barrel's new CEO, Julie Felss Masino, whatever, I don't know, Masino, I guess it's Masino. Julie Masino got on the phone. Now again, we're talking May, y'all, of 2024. Got on the phone with investors and unveiled the details of a quote-unquote strategic transformation plan her board of directors had approved the first of 5 pillars in the plan would be refining and evolving the brand across all touch points. Now, I've been an executive, I've been a board member, and I've worked at the corporate level, and I love these words, robust, leveraging, transparent, synergizing. And here's one. The first of 5 pillars in the plan would be refining and evolving the brand across all touch points. Y'all tell me what a touch point is. Keep it clean, Stuart O'Hearn, if you're going to write me and tell me what a touch point is. Over the next month, Masino and her board of directors dismissed at least 4 warnings from top investors. She got investors. They're invested in this company. And they get that damn phone call from this new CEO, and she's telling them what they're going to do. She dismissed 4 different warnings. And Sardar, I guess that's how his name is pronounced. I can't pronounce these guys' names. It ain't like Smith or Jones. But anyway, that doesn't make me ignorant. It just means and when I meet people and they tell me their name, I'll say, well, spell it, and I want to know how to say it correctly. But Sardar Jiglari, that the rebranding, this is what he said. He said the rebranding was an obvious folly. Filings with the Security Exchange Commissions that revealed. So the Security and Exchange Commissions revealed that he had basically given her feedback and go, this is, I'm paraphrasing now, but this is going to be a damn flop. Crackle Barrel is not a quote. This is quote. Crackle Barrel is not a broken brand, but it is, or it has, a broken board. He wrote in a scathing 7-page letter to the shareholders. He laid out his criticism in a 120-page slide deck presentation with the title, Crackle Barrel is in Crisis, next to the company's logo of an old man in overalls, a logo that Masino would wipe out unbeknownst to this guy at the time. So this guy, Jiglari, one of the investors, he didn't even know it at the time, but she'd already determined she's going to wipe out the logo. Says, while the dynamics of the company executives pursuing politically correctness, woke rebranding are well documented. A timeline of last year and a half behind the scenes of Crackle Barrel reveals a classic case of corporate mophobia, ignoring cautions and barreling forward despite the fact that the investors was going, man, this is going to be I'm just paraphrasing. This is going to be a bad idea. Bad idea. And on that call, Masino, she announced she had hired a new leading branding agency to refine and strengthen positioning to delight existing and new customers or new guests. The other pillars include enhancing the menu, evolving the store and the guest experience. Is that another word? We got touch point, but now we're going to evolve the store and guest experience. Winning in digital and off-premises and elevating the employee experience. Jiglari, San Antonio, Texas, venture capitalist, sometimes nicknamed Big, didn't buy all the quote-unquote corporate gobbledygook. Since 2011, he has become one of the company's biggest investors, beside BlackRock Incorporated, GMT Capital, the Vanguard Corporation, the Allison Bernstein LP. He's also known for the Maximum magazine, which endorsed Donald Trump, and Steak and Shake, and other national restaurant chains. So Mr. Jiglari didn't respond to requests for comments on Monday about this. Other investors didn't react well either with the news, because the next day their stock just started plummeting. The son of a former military officer under Shah Reza somebody, Jiglari was born in Tehran, Iran in 1977, and he fled to San Antonio with his family after the Ayatollah Khomeini came into power, dethroning whoever it was and the whole thing. So anyway, Working first at his family's Persian carpet store, he built a business as a teenager and then in his 20s. So it just goes to tell you the American dream is available to anybody. The CEO and the board barreled ahead. They hired a new chief marketing officer named Sarah Moore in July of 2024. So in May of 2024, they do this phone call. So and then in July of 2024, they hired this old gal, and she came from where? MGM Resorts International. Wow. In 2024 annual report released that came out in September of 2024 included a new diversity, equity, inclusion section. So Crackle Barrel done got them a DEI, strategic transformation plan with the rebranding. Anyway, that's what they did. So it featured 7 business resource groups for promoting diverse members, Black leaders, Hispanic and Latino culture, LGBTQ plus awareness, military veterans, and women leaders. Who did they leave out? Who knows? The article goes on to say, hauntingly, in the report, executives warn that failure to achieve or sustain a strategic transformation plan with the rebranding could adversely affect our results. They also noted unfavorably public publicity could harm our business, as could activist shareholders. By October of 2024, Mr. Big, the investor, he had had enough. In his blistering 7-page letter to the shareholders, he warned them about the board's obvious folly, greenlighting Masino and her new transformation plan. He criticized the board's alleged dysfunction and mismanagement. Quote, this is from Mr. Big, the investor from Iran. Crackle Barrel is in perilous times. He laid out stark numbers. He laid them all out. Says the problem lies not in seating, but getting more people to sit in it, he warned. Anyway, this right here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is amazing. This is amazing. So for the viewers, I don't know if you knew that, because I didn't know that this whole rebranding and the DEI of Crackle Barrel, y'all, this started back in early part of 2024. The new CEO, Miss Julie, she gonna make changes. And even after that phone call, and shortly after that, she gets all the warnings and the advice from the smart people. But no, little just Julie hires somebody else from MGM, and they're going to move forward, and they're going to take Crackle Barrel. Now, Crackle Barrel, I've been to a many of Crackle Barrels. I love Crackle Barrel. Love it. I like it for many reasons. The food, the prices, the climate, the environment, the whole restaurant dining in value, the package, And there's occasionally I go in there and I buy something. I may buy an old video, or I buy a knick-knack or something for me, or I do Christmas shopping in there sometimes. But it's pretty cool to go in there, and it's like a memory lane in the store, and you see old stuff. It's got a really down, I don't know if it's Southern. It doesn't matter. It's just old-time, traditional environment. And not Crackle Barrel, but this gal, Julie, she and her woke friends decide that they need to make some changes. Now, I have no doubt, and this is pure speculation, or if nothing else, it's comedy for this damn video, but I can see them now at their wokely little dinner parties, and they're drinking. Do I have a cup? I don't have a cup. You believe that? I don't have a cup. I'll just hold this bottle. But they're drinking, and they got their finger up like that, and they're drinking, and they're bad mouthing Trump, and they're bad mouthing conservatives, and they're talking about we need to change Crackle Barrel because maybe they're friends in New York, or Staten Island, or maybe they're friends in Vermont or Connecticut or New Hampshire, or not so much in New Hampshire, but in New Jersey, or maybe somebody in Portland, Maine, or Los Angeles. I don't even know if they even have them in California. I don't know and don't care. But what the point is they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble. It's a little pink bubble, and it's got unicorns and rainbows in it. That's where they live. But they decided to convince old Julie that it's too redneck. I'm just paraphrasing, but here's what it is. I've watched enough blogs and commentaries and stuff. The cat's out of the bag. They were convinced by a select group of people, activists, that Crackle Barrel was too American traditional, too redneck, too white, too old people, that type of stuff. That's what it was. A select group of people convinced some numbnuts that are in charge of I can imagine what their paycheck is, but they convinced them that they need to do all this. And I guess it's to take the moral high ground or something. I don't know, if they can say, well, look what I did. Well, ask Coke, ask Bud, ask a couple of other people. How does it go? Ask Target, ask Dick's Sporting Goods. Seriously, you basically slap the face of the people, your customers, that had loyalty to you, and you slapped them in the face. You have got to be, Julie, I'm talking to you. You have got to be one of the most incredibly stupid people on this planet. And yes, YouTube, I know you're reminding me that I got to be respectful. I'm being honest, YouTube. Julie Masino, whatever her name is, she's an idiot. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying somebody with that education, that much duties and responsibilities made this decision. If somebody at YouTube made that decision, y'all would say that person's an idiot. Well, I'm telling you, man, this blows me away. She can't be, I guess she is. And a year in advance, she was warned by who? The folks that's got skin in the game, the investors. She had to convince some people, we're going to spend about $600 or $700 million doing all this stuff, and here's going to be what we perceive is the return. Here's the return on the investment. Her woke friends are going to be giddy, and they're going to be happy, and they got rid of that white, redneck, country, old people looking place. Tyrus, who I love, Tyrus was on the 5 last night, and he said it point blank. And I'm not quoting him, but I'm paraphrasing him. He basically said, Crackle Barrel, and Tyrus says, I love Crackle Barrel. Tyrus said, that's one of the few places, this is just his opinion, and again, I'm not quoting him, but Tyrus was basically communicating that, Crackle Barrel is like one of the few places that that's like for white folks, and white folks go there because they like going there. I don't go there because of white folks. I go there because I like going there. I never looked at it like Tyrus looked at it. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but that was his perspective. And he's like, it's quiet. It's safe. Don't recall seeing any damn ass whoopings and fighting. You can probably go into a Crackle Barrel, especially in the southeast. You can probably go in a Crackle Barrel, enjoy a nice meal in a clean environment, not worrying about people fighting, swearing, cussing. You see people praying at the table before they eat. They ask the blessing. They ask, Lord, please bless this food. They count their blessings. They ask for blessings from God on their food. The waitresses and the waiters are pretty nice. For the most part, they ain't got tattoos from their head to the tail and got purple hair and big looped rings hanging out of their nose. If I owned a restaurant, I'd say none of my waitresses and waiters none of my employees are going to look like that. Why? Because it's not pleasing to look at. I can't believe it. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave that. So, what's the story? They're like, well, I guess and this is really funny because now the headline is Crackle Barrel says, well, what does it say? They're listening now, so they're going to put the logo back to what it was. But here's what I would ask if I was one of the investors. If they throwed this at me, I said, whoa, pull them reins back. Y'all are saying y'all going to do what? And I'd be looking for the focus groups. And I'd say, okay, show me the focus groups. And if they showed me all the focus groups, I'm going to go, where the hell did you do this? In Staten Island? Queens? Did you do this in Newport, Rhode Island? Did you go to Jasper, Georgia? We don't have one, but did you go to Canton, Georgia? Macon, Georgia? Did you go to Warner Robins? Did you go to Savannah? Where in the world did you go to Birmingham, Alabama? Montgomery? Where did you do this focus group? Did you ask them if they thought this was okay? Because that's where that's where your money is, man. But no, they didn't. They did it in their little circle of woke friends, and they made a really, really costly bad. I mean, dang, dude, are you serious? Anyway, so now the DEI consultant is under fire, the one they hired from MGM. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. I don't care. You fix it back, I may go back to Crackle Barrel, but I'm gonna tell you right now, that CEO, no severance pay, nothing. You need to fire her butt, show her the door, take her little name tag, get rid of her email account. She don't have access and all that crap anymore. You need to show her the door and send her on her way packing with her little DEI hire team that she's been building for over a year. Get rid of them all. Hell, I'll come out of retirement. Hire me. I'll help you. So, all right, that's all I got. Hey, it's a great day. Gonna get a lot of stuff done today. Gonna do a little work in the chicken coop. Start building my winter caps to cover my upper vents for letting the heat out. Now I got to keep the heat in. Probably gonna have to cut the grass, and I am going to make me. And maybe I'll even show it next video. I'm going to make me my own candling light. I'm not going to go spend a lot of money. I'm going to go to the paint store and buy metal quart size paint can. And then I'm going to build a light in it and do all that stuff, put it on a stand. And that way I can hold the egg in front of it and spin the egg like you're supposed to. I'm going to make one. Why? Because I'm a cheap bastard. I don't know. All right. Oh, gosh, I swore again. I'm sorry, YouTube. Forgive me. I'm trying to remember. You reminded me. I know. That's it. And I did get my ramp built for my shed. And matter of fact, you know what? I may even put a picture of it in there. All right. That's all I got, y'all. God bless you. God bless the country. Thank the Lord, man. We live in a free nation. Thank you, President Trump, for your courage and your commitment to making America great again. You're being an effective leader for the good and for the good of America. And it appears, you could be wrong, but it appears you got a good cabinet behind you. Y'all keep up the good work. America appreciates it. Believe me, you. That's it, y'all. Take care. Mike Coker. Go to work. Bicycle.